guest today is Peter Williams, the founder and executive director of an organization called Archive. Peter, it's great to have you on the show. Thank you.
Thanks very much for having me, Dave.
So, for those who don't know, tell us what Archive is.
Archive is an international nonprofit. Archive, first of all, is an acronym, Architecture for Health in Vulnerable Environments, set up to use housing, and particularly housing design, as a key strategy for improving health among the world's poor.
You are an architect by training. What does Archive actually do?
Archive as an organization is set up to work with communities and governments, but also members or companies in the private sector, to bring awareness to the relationship between housing, poor housing conditions, and poor health.
Where are some of the places that you've established your programs?
So we're currently working in Cameroon in West Africa, in the UK, actually specifically London, and a lot of people may think that these challenges are unique to developing countries, developing world. By no means is that the case. So we found it useful to work in the UK, but also Haiti, and that is our current sort of operations.
And Archive goes into these environments, and what do you do to change the built environment so that people are not suffering so much from tuberculosis and other airborne diseases?
First of all, learning, how do people build? How do they build and at what cost? What materials do they build with? We then go in, we work with local architects where they're available, local contractors, to address the specific risks that the communities face.
And how have the results been when you've been able to advise these local communities on how to change or retrofit a facility? How has that worked?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer, because what we've realized is that there's been tremendous demand for this for years, if not decades. The government is pleased because obviously the communities have access to better shelter. Ministry of Health or the private sector are happier because the communities are healthier, and certainly the communities themselves are quite happy about that.
How closely linked are housing conditions in the developing world and health?
They're inextricably linked. We know, and we've known this for quite some time, that ventilation strategies, that housing strategies, indoor environment is directly proportional to the health risks that these communities face.
How did you even get involved in a field like this? What inspired you to start an organization like Archive?
I was working as an architect, working in countries like Saudi Arabia and Singapore, in many parts of the world. And I think the more that I got involved in those type of projects, the more I was able to, I found it very difficult rather to kind of reconcile the early lived experience of what I'd seen firsthand in a country like Jamaica.
Peter, you're obviously a journeyman, you're pursuing your passion. How do you actually scale an organization like this to get it to have maximum impact?
It first of all starts with a vision, to be honest. And then you ensure that you're quite flexible in terms of how you believe an organization like this should move and what sort of issues should it respond to, and we set out a way of prioritizing one disease versus another. So it's really having that vision, but also being flexible in a manner that we ensure that we're addressing the need where it's greatest. So it's bringing on board, making sure that our message gets in front of the right audiences, making sure that we're speaking to governments where possible, also making sure that we're speaking to multilateral agencies like the UN, like the World Bank, like USAID. So we spend a lot of time putting our information out through different types of programs.
Running a nonprofit, it's not like running a normal tech venture where you're going to raise Series A and venture capital. How do you raise money? Looking
at a strategy that invests in fundraising campaigns, not unlike other nonprofits, grants, it's something that a lot of nonprofits rely on for restricted funds, for delivering programs. But also one of the interesting, exciting spaces that we're looking to get into is actually creating a sustainable trading arm to develop an earned income stream, and we're excited about launching that in the latter part of this year.
Tell us a little more about that trading arm.
We're in a phase where we're actually looking for key partnerships to attract investment and key partners to take us forward. You're traveling all over the world, you're advocating for Archive. I'm sure people have said no to you. How do you deal with that? How do you overcome it? One of the things that, as I've stressed, one has to keep committed to is the passion. It's why you're doing it. And it's something I don't necessarily have to ask myself every day, but I have to remind myself every day. I mean, we get no a lot. And I try to encourage the team by saying, look, for every 100 no's you're going to get, we may get a yes in there. And it's that yes you really want to hold on to, because it's that yes that you take. What about you as a person drives you and motivates you to do this? What feeds me and what gets me going, what gets me out of bed every single day is believing that this is an important and urgent issue that isn't being addressed. This is an issue that is not geographically specific, it's not specific to any one community, so it's something that I would say that more than anything else I want to champion, hopefully for many years to come. Peter, it's been really great to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thanks for having me, Dan. My pleasure.